fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Hello and welcome to Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes spin a wheel once every other week. It chooses the newest streaming film and we discuss it. Today we are talking about the 2021 film Malignant, which was released on HBO Max on September 10th and was directed by James Wan. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Justin.
And we're going to change up the format of the show a little bit here. So for the past 4 episodes, we've been doing 3 movies every other week, and we decided we want to focus more on one movie every week. So we're going to do the newest of the new every single week, starting in November. So we're going to do this one more movie, and then after the Wheel of Horrors over in October, we're going to start doing this once a week. So just to give everybody a little context here, we're sorry if you really wanted to hear us talk about those last 3 movies, but it's been a lot in the past few weeks going on. So
yeah. And I was going to say, I started SAS with Ruby Rose and I got like 15 minutes into it. And I was like, I feel like people who are listening would rather listen to the newest, most popular movies opposed to like a D- rated Netflix release. So we made an executive decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just makes more sense too, because with Wheel of Horror, we do 1 movie a week. We can start doing this every Friday, really focus on the movie, get more in depth into it. Because there are times where I listen back to the Fresh Film Fridays where I'm like, fuck, there's other things I wanted to say, but we only had 10 minutes per film. So, this will give us a little more breathing room with these films.
Yeah.
But this movie, you were terrified of it. So,
Well, I mean, I'm not like the biggest horror person. And within the horror genre, I try to avoid paranormal, like the kind of movies where like you see a shadow like whiz by someone or someone's like looking in their fridge, but the camera's kind of like too focused behind them and you're like, oh shit, like something's popping up. I try to avoid that stuff.
So like, what kind of horror movies do you like?
Zombies, monster, slasher, literally anything but like something that has to do with like demons or figures that move and like really like this movie basically. But I didn't know anything about this other than it was supposed to be like the new top horror movie. And before I watched it yesterday, I was like, let's check out the trailer. And they put like the scariest 2 minutes of the film in the trailer, and literally it ended and I was just like, oh shit.
Well, what did you text me? You texted me something like, fuck you, Alec, or something.
Yeah, I just said, fuck you, Alec. And you're like, dude, it's not that bad. And then I watched like a minute of it and I was just like, damn it.
Yeah, you were just like, fuck, this movie's about to scare the shit out of me. And then you're just like, God damn it, Alec. And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, God damn it.
I mean, thankfully, the first like 15-ish minutes was like true horror. Like it was scary. And then it kind of like, this was a mix of like a horror movie that had action in it. And it was kind of like a mystery thriller. Like, and on top of that, the soundtrack was pretty cool.
Same thing as you. Before we kind of get into everything, like I didn't even watch the trailer. All I did was see those like quick flicks on like YouTube or whatever, where it would just be like, the girl running to the door, and all of a sudden it'd be like bang, and be like Malignant coming to HBO. I'm like, all right, like you got me. Like I don't know anything about this movie, but I kind of liked that because it reminded me of The Witch. Remember that movie?
Yeah, that one. See, like that's something I try to avoid because it's like demons and shit, like goats doing weird stuff. Like I don't know, man.
But the trailer for that movie like left. It didn't really tell you what the movie was about. It just showed a lot of like kind of scary images. So reminded me of this, where I was like, you know what? I don't want to know anything about this. I didn't read any synopsises. I just was like, okay, HBO is doing this. I love HBO. James Wan's doing this. I really like The Conjuring. Saws are okay, but I really like The Conjuring. And I was like, I'm down. Let's give it a shot. And it was different than I expected. I thought it was not very scary, but I'm also fucked in the head, so not much scares me. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It was more of like a mystery, and I think by the end of it, we learned that it's not a demon, it's not a possession, it's nothing. It's something very different, which we'll get into.
I guess as Arnold wouldn't say, it's a tumor.
Yeah, that's
a couple fun facts. I know if Eric ever listens to this, he'll be like, huh. But a couple fun facts. The main actress who played, I forgot whatever her name is. Well, her name is Annabelle in real life, and she also played in the movie Annabelle.
Oh,
the horror one.
look at that.
And
She
also, she looked familiar, so I was on IMDb, and I was like, "Oh, she's in Peaky Blinders."
Oh, yeah, you love that shit.
Yeah. What do you think of IMDb's rating of a 6.3?
I think that was fair. I don't think this broke any new ground. I think, like, there's a bigger twist than, like, the Conjuring, movies, but I didn't really think it was as scary. I didn't really think this well, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's
Mm,
fair. Why, you think it was better than that or worse?
I liked it. I liked it because like I said, it had a good mix of like, it wasn't just like the entire 2 hours was this like black figure creeping around. Like they kind of cut that off within the first like 20-ish minutes. And
Yeah.
then like they were working with the detectives. And I gotta be honest, dude, I felt pretty dumb at the end of the movie because there were like a dozen hints that you could have pieced together kind of what was happening, and every single one went over my head.
You know, the only thing that stumped me that I still, like, I'm just like, I don't really know is when they're in the police interrogation room and because they think that she's the one doing all of this, and then they call the phone and it's Gabriel talking. I was like, "How did they do that?"
Yeah, there's two things, unless I miss something, that just make no sense to me. One, which at the end of the movie you find out it's the one person, like they're the same. So how did Gabriel call the phone if she wasn't actually making a call, like you said?
Right. Right.
And then two was unless I missed something, Gabriel had like super strength and like insane agility, but it was just like her human body.
I know.
So I thought maybe I missed something, but like it's still just a person.
So let's go through the movie though, just really quick, because I don't want to like confuse people too much if they haven't seen it. I again don't know why you'd be listening to this if you haven't seen it, but basically the movie is there's a woman who's pregnant and she's with an abusive husband. The abusive husband smashes her head against the wall, which then awakens something in her, and we don't know what it is. So then she starts basically seeing murders happening. Her husband then gets murdered, and the police are like investigating her. We find out that she's adopted, that her younger sister is not actually her biological sister, and it all turns out that this girl, who's now like a 40-year-old woman, was born with a Siamese twin that's evil on her back. So she looks like a normal little girl in the front, but then she's got a demon or whatever, evil being on her back. They cut that thing off, and it's been dormant in her head like a tumor since she was a kid, and then she gets hit in the head and then starts awakening, and then now it's the demon possesses her. I'm sorry, her body takes over as Gabriel and commits all these murders and crimes, and she forgets all about it. But she can like subconsciously see it while she's sleeping. It's weird.
Yeah, so Gabriel was a conjoined twin that they removed like 99% of him.
Yeah.
And kind of weird, but like, so she had a total of 3 miscarriages, and you find out that Gabriel was like absorbing the fetus's strength. So it's like kind of
Mm.
like a Voldemort type type thing, like absorbing its strength. And
Yeah.
then finally it became strong enough to take control of her body to do the killings, but like put her mind in like a different subconscious so that she thought she was like at home on the couch, but she's like killing a bunch of people. Uh,
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how I missed so many. Like I didn't understand the title of the movie till the end, and I was like, "Oh, Malignant," like the tumor.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It just didn't click.
Oh my
Um,
god, yeah, because they said malignant, I was thinking, I was like, "Oh," and immediately it's like, "Let's cut out the cancer," and I was like, "Oh, malignant tumor, okay."
right,
But
right, right.
I was the biggest twist, I was not expecting it to still be inside of her. I thought they cut it off and then it, like, grew into a person. That's what I thought happened, but
I thought that at first, but then she kept touching the back of her head, and there was blood. And then you saw the picture of Gabriel's face, and it was like a cut open wound. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like
oh,
trying to piece it together, but it just wasn't clicking. I was like, wait a minute.
dude, I don't think this is obvious at all until the end where when you find out that the demon's, like, splitting open her head and then coming out, and then
Oh god,
break
yeah.
like, disjointing all of her elbows and knees. That I thought was the scariest thing is the way that it walked, because it was, like, so unnatural to, like, what a human looks like.
Yeah, it looked backwards, like the arms looked like they were behind the body, and I was like, huh.
Yeah. That was sad.
Ah.
That was
But
creepy.
yeah, the beginning of the movie, like when the husband like Hulk smashed her head into the wall, and then he was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry," like it wasn't a big deal, and
Yeah.
like her head was bloody, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what woman who's super pregnant and her head's like bleeding pretty badly. I feel like you'd go to the ER or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, yeah, her head is split open in the back. Just go to make sure the baby's okay, but then also be like, "Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go. Like, get me away from this guy."
Yeah, so like I was freaked out in the beginning when the blender just went off. Like the second you heard the blender go off and he like stood up and in this big house that was all dark, I was like, here we go, paranormal shit. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then he shut it off, and then the fridge just opened. I was like, no, dude, get. I was like, fuck, no, dude.
'Cause it makes you think there's a demon or there's a ghost or something, and so it's just so hard for me to believe that this tumor that's been in her head, like, subconsciously seeing everything that she's been seeing, but is unable to do anything, like, to take control or understand how the body works or anything like that, is able to then take it over and be essentially like a superhuman demon monster. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, they tried to like mislead you because in the beginning, the figure Gabriel killed the husband,
yeah.
and then she was running from it, and it was pounding on the door that she was stopping. So like that, I didn't. It makes sense.
I
That's
think that's all in her head. I mean, that's the stuff that, like, Gabriel was like it's almost like
he,
Inception, like, she's inside of her own dream almost.
okay. So okay, I mean, yeah, okay. I guess literally the only gripe is then it doesn't explain the above human strength and like she's
Yeah.
so agile running through shit. I don't know. Other than
Dude,
that,
she first of all, does everybody in this movie just have the aiming of a stormtrooper? Because no one can hit this woman, and I'm like, first of all, her head's on backwards. It's like
well,
she's a tumor demon thing, like, ye come on,
I feel like
somebody
the detective definitely hit her when he was chasing her in the beginning. I think he hit her like multiple times, but in the police station when there were like 20 cops shooting, I was like, how the fuck is she doing that?
dude, it was almost like the thing from V for Vendetta, like, it was just, like, swinging around everywhere, jumping like, when it jumped off the roof and it just kept, like, catching on the different fire escapes as it was, like, dropping down, I was just like, "Alright, what is this thing? This is a woman with, like, disjointed elbows? Like, what the fuck is this thing?"
Yeah, that was when that monster was falling down from the fire escape. That was the first point where I didn't understand because it looked like from the rest of the movie that it was kind of like a shadow figure that was like going in between walls and shit, but then it
Yeah.
had to like physically run away and I was like, why don't you just like evaporate or something?
Yeah, so it is, it is just her the whole time doing it. But again, it doesn't really make sense that Gabriel's able to split open the back of her head, then go back into it. Like her skull has to like open. Like it's not, I don't know. So that was a little strange that she wasn't in constant pain. Like she's like, my fucking head hurts like all the time.
Yeah. Unless Gabriel like made her mind believe that her arms weren't in pain. But I mean that's also looking like really into it.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. Yeah.
I laughed at a South Park joke in this movie when the sister was she was like, who is he? And she was like, he's someone from my past. And she goes, before? And I just said like I like whispered, I was like, the long, long ago. Like, stop. I don't know why. I like caught myself. I was like, why did I say
Oh, from
that?
the wacky molestation episode?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
before time.
Yes, a long, long ago. Yeah, no. Did it have any funny moments? Like, actually funny moments? Not really. It was pretty not
Mm,
that I can think of.
no, it was pretty messed up when they showed the adopted mother, the mother who adopted her, and they were like playing the VHS of her like talking to Gabriel on the phone. I was like, wow, that's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And then Gabriel was convincing her to cut the cake, and the cake was actually like the stomach with the pregnant mom. I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. The movie, yeah, I mean, dude, I kinda wanna rewatch it now knowing the end and kinda, like, picking it apart. I think I'll enjoy it more now that I know what's going on a little bit. And maybe I'll figure out what the fuck that phone call thing is because 'cause I'm like, "It doesn't make sense," but I wanna know.
Yeah, I don't know how it somehow had the power to call numbers it doesn't know and show up as like unknown and shit. I don't get that, but
Yeah, so I need to know more about that. But really quick, do me a favor and just type into Google basket case film. Have you ever heard of the movie Basket Case?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Basket case
Yeah.
film.
Go ahead and just pull up the Wikipedia really, or I'll read the Wikipedia once you pick it up. But I just want you to look at the pictures of this thing. So
Um,
just really quick, because when I was watching it and towards the end, I was like, this is kind of like Basket Case. So, Basket Case is a man arrives in New York City with a locked wicker basket. After he gets a cheap room at a hotel, the contents of the basket are finally revealed. It lives his deformed, conjoined twin brother, Belial. Although conjoined at birth, the twins were surgically separated at an early age against their will. Belial deeply resents being cut off from his normal-looking brother, and Dwayne equally resents how heartless everyone acts towards his loving brother. So it is different, but I mean, are you looking at the pictures and shit?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lower budget version of this that
Well,
just
yeah.
didn't get attention.
Well, it came out in the very early 80s, and it was a very low budget film, but there's 3 of them, it's a trilogy, and it is, about an evil conjoined tumor thing that kind of fucks with this
Mhm.
guy with the woman's life. So I was like, I wonder if James Wan is a huge, Basket Case fan.
Or there's just like every movie's been done to a point where the writing kind of clashes.
I mean, I didn't think that the dialogue really broke any ground. I think the major draw of this movie is the twist of it, being her.
Yeah, again, like I know I bring this up like every horror movie where, I wouldn't do that thing if I was like by myself or something and you're like, "Well, that's why it's a horror movie." But
Yeah.
in this movie specifically, when the sister drove to the closed mental hospital
Oh, yeah.
to get more proof, let me just say there's no excuse for that. There's no like, but it's a horror movie. She drove to this super creepy psych ward that was on literally the edge of a cliff, a huge
Yeah.
cliff with like the ocean at night. Like she couldn't like sleep and like leave earlier to get there at like 11 a.m. or something. She's like, I'm gonna go at like 2 a.m. when it's fucking dark. And this place looked like a crack den. Like nobody would do that in a realistic situation. Like you don't have anyone to invite or anything. I don't know.
I completely agree with you. And then I like how towards the end she actually finds the things, which is like, give me a fucking break. She's in an old abandoned, no electricity place with thousands of files, and she happens to find the one her sister, whatever. But then I love at the end, like you hear something in the background, it's like and they realize they can't like do it because the monster can't be there. So they're just like, it just ends. Did you notice that?
Oh, when she was in yeah, the noise. Yeah, I heard the noise and I was like,
Yeah.
what is
It's
that noise
nothing.
though?
It was nothing because the sister's in jail, so it can't be her. So it's just kinda like, "Oh, I guess we'll just do a little thing just to raise your tension, I guess, because it's not gonna be anything," you know?
Yeah, there were a lot of scenes where like there was a dramatic, like sharp noise that they just like threw in there for added effect. But I don't know, I thought maybe like something fell or someone else was in there or something.
No, you're right, though. That sister scene, that was very stupid.
You're telling me you can't open your like people who are listening to this, like real life situation. If you had to go to a creepy hospital that was abandoned, like you can't open your phone list and be like, hey, let me get like 4 people or something. Like anybody.
Yeah. Another thing that didn't really kind of add up to me is, Gabriel, once he takes possession of his sister, he starts going and killing all of the doctors that were like, that did what they did to him, like removed him or whatever.
Mhm.
And the main character, Madison, why don't the doctors ever talk to her at all or like keep up with her or like do anything? Like, I understand like she got adopted by family. They're probably trying to like be like, okay, let's just let her live a normal life. But like, this girl can't live a normal life. Like, they have to be like checking in on her every few months or whatever. So it seems like from age 8 or whatever she was when they stopped talking to her till now at like age 35 or 40, she has no idea that these doctors, they just stopped caring about her.
I mean, realistically, from like a medical standpoint, I'm assuming like every 6 months or 3 years, they'd be like, we got to like take an MRI to make sure.
Exactly.
And she'd be like, an MRI of what? And they're like, oh, you had a conjoined monster twin.
Right, but they never mention that. Like even the adopted mom barely knows anything about this. She's like, they told me that her real mom was dead and blah blah blah. So like you would think that if you're adopting an 8-year-old, you'd find the reason why. Because she's been in an orphanage, apparently according to the orphanage, by herself since she was 8 years old, which is a lie. But then you'd think that they'd be like, listen, this girl has like massive head trauma, so we need her to come in every year or whatever so we can make sure she's doing okay. But they don't even say anything. So that's a little kind of
Well, I'm guessing they lied just to like kind of give her a little bit of normalcy. And then, like, before you know it, the hospital closed down and the doctors are like, not my problem.
well, she's also very lucky, unless the whole fetus absorption thing was like whatever. But what, you're gonna tell me this girl didn't hit her head once from age 8 to this age? She didn't smack her head on anything one time. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Unless they're like, well, the
Also,
fetuses. You had to absorb the fetuses. Like, okay.
also, like, what would have happened if she never got pregnant? Like, because even if she hit her head, it still wouldn't have been strong enough without the strength of the 3 fetuses. So, like, if she never got pregnant, like, she just never found a boyfriend or anything, and there wouldn't be this movie.
Right. Yeah, I know, I know. Okay, so I guess the fetuses are the important thing, but, like, what are these fucking, like, Mike Tyson fetuses? Like, what are they how strong are these that he's like, "Finally, I got that little baby heart, and now I can, like, take over this body." But, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, dude, her boyfriend in the beginning, what a fucking dick. I mean, obviously, he's, like, an alcoholic punching her and stuff, but, like, even the line where he's just like, "How many of my babies are gonna die in you?" You're just like, "Dude, like, you suck."
Yeah, that was yeah.
Like, what a
That
prick.
was a pretty harsh comment.
Yeah.
Like she just came home like from a long shift. I don't know. She had like I think scrubs on or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So she was in a medical field, probably assuming her job is pretty stressful. She came home from like an 8-hour shift, like just worn down, and he's just like, "Oh, is this baby gonna live or like you're gonna kill it too?" And I was like, "Geez, man, like
I
let her
know,
like change and shower first."
he's just, like, on the bed watching UFC, just like, "Where the fucking baby's dead?" And, like, she's like, "Oh my god." And then he's like, "I stopped drinking. Isn't that enough?" It's like, "No, you're still an asshole, dude." So he
Yeah.
sucked. I'm glad he died, quickly.
And it's funny you bring up the husband. That female detective, like, first off, the two detectives were like, I found them very funny. The
Hmm.
male was very like, he's a young, off the beat detective with like kind of messy bedhead hair, but like it's purposely messy. And then his female partner was very just like, nah, like I know what really happened in here, but every time she said something, it was wrong. And when she tried to pin it on her, the main actress who was pregnant, she's like, oh, she must have been hanging upside down while pregnant and snapped her husband's neck. I'm like, are you a detective? Are you really a detective? Like, if you've ever seen a woman who's like about to give birth, like they're like waddling and stuff. Like you're
Yeah.
telling me she overpowered her husband and then 180'd his neck and then
Yeah.
ran upstairs and somehow slammed the door on her stomach to kill the baby. Like, come on, man.
You've gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit, I think, for this
I
movie.
know, I know. I liked it though. Like I'm just nitpicking, obviously,
Yeah.
but I thought it was good. Not overly scary, so I'm not traumatized like I thought I would be.
Yeah, see, Justin's not that scary. Yeah, the other thing was the sister's an actress, and I was just like, "You're in Seattle?" I was like, what are you doing there?" She's like, "I can't even get
What
any auditions." I was like, "Yeah, you're in fucking
was she an
Seattle."
actress? I
Yeah.
thought she like wore princess outfits at like some restaurant or something.
Dude, I didn't know what the hell that was. Yeah, when she was in the hospital and she was wearing that, I was like, "Who? What the fuck?" Yeah, she says like, "I can take some time, like miss a few auditions. Not like I'm booking anything anyways." I was like, "Well, you're in Seattle." I was like, "Get down to LA or go to New York or something."
I was getting like, I don't know about you, but like hints that she kind of knew about Gabriel. Maybe not 100%, but like she didn't seem very afraid. Right after the hospital, she went back into this house, which is creepy in the first place. It's always like foggy and shit.
Yeah.
And her husband was just murdered in it by this like creepy figure. And she's like, oh, I'll just go back to it by myself. And she didn't seem overly concerned. Like the first night, she saw that creature again in the street with the lights flickering and like didn't attempt to call the police or her sister and be like, I'm not staying here anymore. She just like put extra locks on the doors.
Hmm. Yeah, because she does say that line where she's just like, "I'm not gonna let it take my house from me too." But
Yeah, I would have been like, I'm gonna sell this. I'm selling this house, man.
but every time she does say to her sister, she's like, "I saw him, like, he killed this person, and, like, she's freaking out or whatever, so, I think by the time her husband smashed her head into the wall from that point forward, I think it's kind of like, we don't really know what's real anymore because her looking down at the streetlight, like, clearly that's not real, so she must be asleep or something, or
Oh yeah. Like
because that
Gabriel
can't
wanted her to see that.
anytime that Gabriel and her in the same scene, it's not real,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Okay. So he was like messing with her, basically.
Oh, yeah, I think the whole time, and I really was surprised when he went for that, his mother, the one who was in the cave or whatever and was teaching or, like, doing the tour guide stuff. I was
Mhm.
like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Who is this lady?" Like, Jesus, like, they kept her alive for, like,
Dude,
half the movie, and then
how about when you find out that she was in the attic of the
I
house?
know.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, dude.
I know, I was very surprised, but then again, god damn it, that phone call scene really fucks with me because 'cause I'm like, "This doesn't make sense then," because the phone call is talking with her in the room to
Oh shit.
to the police officers and says, like, "The bitch didn't even know her mother was upstairs," like, says that to them, so I'm like, "How did they do that?" I
Hmm.
need to see it again, dude. I mean, like, I thought I was watching this pretty goddamn intently, but I fucking missed it, unless that's just a huge oversight or plot hole, because you see the other times where the monster or Gabriel talks to anyone else, it's always through, like, a radio or some sort of electronic device. It's never just the voice. So I was like, I like that because you can't tell it's the woman, and, it's creepy, you're like, "Oh, why the fuck is he talking through radio?" But then the phone call screws everything up.
Yeah, and that unfortunately, unless I'm missing something, can't be like a figment of her imagination because the detectives like were there and they got the call.
Yep, and they're responding
So
to it. They're
yeah.
responding to it, so I need to
Uh
either watch it again or yeah, if anybody listening can, like, I don't know if you've seen it, reach out because I mean, it's stumping me. I don't get it, and that's one of the not bad things, but one of the things about doing new movies is there's not a lot on them. So it's not like a lot of people have had time to, like, retrospectively look back and, do deep dives and stuff. This is brand freaking new, so
yeah, other than the few things that don't add up, I would say it's still a good movie though.
no, for sure, and I mean, dude, James Wan, he's fantastic. He's, like, right up there with Wes Craven and John Carpenter in my mind, dude. I mean, he kicked off the Saw franchise, the Conjuring franchise, he did the Insidious franchise, now he's doing this. So I'm like, this guy's really goddamn good.
Yeah.
I, definitely enjoy his movies. Not a huge Saw guy, but everything else he's done, I've really enjoyed.
I like the first Saw, but like
Yeah, me too.
now I feel like they're competing with Fast and the
Conjuring.
Furious at this point.
Oh, the Saw movie?
There's like 10 of them.
Oh, yeah, dude, Saw is crazy, but no, the first Saw that's the thing, this kind of reminded me of the first Saw where there's, like, a big twist. You're like, "Oh, like, this is not what I thought it was the whole time." So, this is definitely worth checking out if you like horror movies, if you like even, like, psychological thrillers, it's kind of more in line with
Mm.
no, I guess it's like a horror if horror first, I'd say.
Yeah, and they ended with a super cheesy line when she was like locking Gabriel up in her kind of mental prison because she physically closed like the jail doors.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm coming back for you. And like, oh, they ended it with like the cheesiest, like, she was like, yeah, but this time I'll be ready. It's like,
Yeah.
but like, what if you're not ready though? Like,
I know, yeah, exactly, yeah, like, the ending is good, but I thought it was just not scary at all when, yeah, he's like, "Fuck you, like, I'm getting out of here. Yeah, see, you can't keep me locked up."
yeah, unless there's a second one and like all of that he made up too.
Oh, is
Like
it a
he
fall?
wanted her to think that she's in charge and really like I don't know, you find out in the second one like she killed the detectives and like she drove off. I don't know.
Mm, there's definitely sequel room here for sure. How many Keanu's did you give this one?
I would say 3.5 out of 5 Keanu's.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna give it. I was like, it's not a masterpiece, it's not shitty, it's right in the middle, right in the middle.
Yeah. Kind of surprised though why Gabriel didn't go after the adopted mom in a wheelchair. Like I feel like that was the easiest victim.
She didn't do anything though.
Yeah, but like did the doctors really do anything? It's not like these doctors were like trying to like we got to kill Gabriel. They were like we're trying to like save this girl's life.
Dude, the doctors are the first people Gabriel should go for. They're the ones that, like, try to cut him off. They
Well,
tried to kill him
why was he so obsessed with killing the younger sister?
because in his mind, the younger sister was gonna, like, take his place. It's like, "Oh, she's got, like, another like, because the way that Gabriel sees it, he's like, "Yo, this is my sister." And then they're like, "Fuck this. I want, like, a new sister or I want a new sibling." And then she gets this person or the younger sister, and Gabriel is just he's, like, forced to watch it, like, he's in a prison basically, you know? Like,
Oh, okay.
it's not Gabriel's well, no, he is evil. He is evil. But, like, I mean, deep down inside, like, he does just want love. That really is it, And they're like,
Dude,
"Yo."
you know what I was thinking, which would have been like the biggest twist when they were showing the scenes of the doctors like doing tests on Gabriel and her and when she was a kid, when they were like cutting him off. I was expecting you to find out that like somehow not necessarily that like she was Gabriel, but like it was reversed. Like they thought they killed the dying Gabriel, but actually like it somehow became her. Does
Oh,
that make sense? Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, for sure. So they, like, cut him off, but actually, like, what happened is when they did that, like, he took over her brain for the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't what happened, and I was like, "Ah, well, okay."
I like what they did. I did. But I'm definitely gonna watch it again just to see if I can pick apart that telephone interrogation room scene, 'cause
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to because it really didn't make sense.
Yeah, whatever. But I guess really quick, last scene I just want to talk about is the jail scene, dude. When they're just like, "Look at this stupid bitch! Like she can't. Would you come from your golf course or
Dude,
whatever?" And then she just fucks
dude.
everybody up.
You saw so many bones sticking, like flipping chicks over, and like she just punched them at first, and they were on their back, and I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna be okay. And then she like physically crushed their head, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, dude.
I have never wanted to see like a behind the scenes choreographed scene more than that one. Like, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
like a John Wick one, but this one I was like, damn, dude, this is a good fucking fight scene.
the fight scene with the prison and the police station were exceptional. That cop though was stupid as shit. Like his arm was in the cell shooting at her, and I literally was like, she's gonna pull him in and take the keys, and that's what
Yeah.
happened. If he
Nobody
had
can
backed up
shoot.
3 feet,
Dude, everybody sucks at shooting in this movie. Everybody's aim is shitty. Don't give me that she's fast. No, no. Everybody's aim sucks. So even
yeah.
all the police officers, they're all fucking police officers, and none of them can even
Yeah,
do
she
it.
killed like 20 cops.
Yeah,
I was thinking of like an inside joke to tell you, and like the next day after all the cops were killed, like you just see a hiring ad for the police station, like literally hiring everyone. We need 40 cops.
yeah, seriously, we'll take anybody. Yeah, that's funny. Well, what do you say you spin the wheel for next time, Justin?
Okay, we have Cry Macho.
Cry Macho. Yeah, that's another HBO Max movie. Let's see. A one-time rodeo star and washed-up horse breeder in 1978 takes a job from an ex-boss to bring the man's young son home and away from his alcoholic mom. Crossing rural Mexico on their back to Texas, the unlikely pair faces an unexpectedly challenging journey. Okay.
This is like stereotypical Clint Eastwood script.
I'm just excited because he's literally older than God. So this is gonna
What if the unexpected hardships on the journey is like they're trying to go back and like every 10 minutes he's like, my hip hurts. It's like, all right, like we'll sit another 15, but like we have to get going. He's like, okay.
Oh, it's just gonna be so much complaining. It's gonna be just that for 2 hours. But thank you everybody so much for listening in. We have a new episode of Wheel of Horror this Monday with Summer of 1984, so check that out. And then starting next Friday, we are doing our 31 movies in 31 days of October. So get ready for that. We will see you all next week.
Bye.